Have you ever looked at your husband and thought, if he would just change this one thing, our marriage would be perfect? Maybe you want to change his communication to be better, that he should understand your emotions, he should appreciate you more, and maybe stop doing that one little irritating thing which is going on for years, like throwing towels or forgetting to pay bills or forgetting to inform you or call you, or maybe all of the above. I know that feeling because I also genuinely believe that my marriage would transform when my husband changed. But what surprised me was that this change did not happen when tried to change him, but it happened when I started to look at myself. So today, I want to share my personal story, a story I wish someone had told me so many years ago. And I'm Dr. Sunita Ladda, the relationship coach and the gynecologist, as you all know. Everyone assumes that because I am a doctor and so many years of marriage, that means everything must have been smooth. But trust me, it wasn't. Like many ambitious women, I too was managing a lot: my patients, practice, deliveries, family responsibilities, children, in laws, extended family, domestic help, which you all know that requires the most efficient management. And like every other woman, I too became very capable, like the one who solves every problem. You know that woman? I'm sure you know, because you are also one and I am also one of her. Because I was her, I fixed everything. If something went wrong, I fixed. If something needed organizing, I did it. I planned. If vacations were needed, I should plan. Parties, I should arrange. Guests coming over, gifts, everything, everything. Basically, I was the unofficial CEO, which I had appointed myself. And that time I thought that, bhai, I'm being so responsible, because I felt that added pressure that it should not appear that being a doctor or a working woman, I'm not managing my family or my children or my relationships well. But looking back, I was today, I think that I was trying to control everything. And when things did not happen my way, the way I wanted or the way I thought was right, I became frustrated. I used to think, why doesn't he understand? Why doesn't he think like me? Why doesn't he can do things the way I want? Why doesn't he respond the way I would? Can you relate? I kept focusing on what my husband needed to improve in which areas. And meanwhile, I wasn't paying attention to my own patterns. That's the funny thing about marriage. We can write a 20-page report on our spouse's weaknesses, but when it comes to us, we struggle to identify our own weaknesses, or maybe we don't want to acknowledge them. Now, how did this all change? One day, while attending a self help program, a realization changed everything. The realization that I was spending so much time and energy in trying to change someone else. Though he was my beloved, he was another person with another identity, another ideas, other upbringing, other values, so many other things. And I understood that I'm not spending any time to understand myself. And that realization, my friends, believe me, was uncomfortable because suddenly I had to ask, what if the problem isn't only in him? What if some of my reactions are contributing to our distance? What if my need to be right is creating the disconnection? What if my expectations not being fulfilled because I have not spoken about them? What emotional triggers are driving my reactions? And ouch, that hurt. This was not a pleasant discovery, friends, but it was powerful because for the first time, I stopped waiting for change and I focused and started on creating the change. Now, let me be clear about one thing. I did not become silent or I did not become like a doormat. I didn't suppress my feelings. I did not suddenly become a perfect wife, which till today I'm not. I accept it because no one can become perfect. And so I also stopped accepting a perfect husband. What changed was something very much different, which I never knew that was needed to make any relationship happy and comfortable. I learned to understand and watch my emotions. I started to become emotionally intelligent rather than becoming an emotional fool. I became aware of my triggers. I learned how men and women process emotions differently, communicate differently. I learned to not assume that my husband should read my mind. I started communicating differently, listening actively and differently, responding differently, and slowly something beautiful happened. The atmosphere of our marriage changed. Not suddenly overnight, not magically, but slowly, by consistent efforts and with consciousness to make this relationship become extraordinary. And during this journey, this is what I learned, that you cannot force any other person to change, not your husband and not even your children who have come from within you. But when you change the but when you change the relationship dynamic, the relationships begin begin to change because relationships are systems, and one person shifts, the whole system shifts. It responds. So, the more emotional aware I became, the more closer we came. The more connected our marriage became when I became focused on understanding rather than controlling. Our intimacy grew when I stopped managing everything. The new, compact, conscious partnership developed. And honestly, life became lighter. So if you're watching this today and feeling frustrated, please hear me. You're not powerless. You may not be able to change your husband, but you can absolutely change the emotional patterns and the emotional environment of your relationship. And sometimes that is where real transformation begins. My marriage did not improve because I found a perfect husband. It improved because I stopped waiting for perfection and started practicing emotional connection. I would love to know in the comments what is one thing you wish to change in your husband, and what is one thing that you're willing to change in yourself. This question actually had changed my life, and maybe it will change yours too. So, if you enjoyed this video, you got some insights to improve the environment of your relationship, your marriage, then like, share, and subscribe, and stay connected to learn or to come closer, and closer with your partner in your marriage. See you in the next one.